Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, welcome everyone for today's session. So, today we are discussing on sixth system of philosophy called Shad Darshan. I hope you are able to see the screen or the PPT screen on your mobile. Are
Yes,
you able
Prabhu.
to see the
Yes,
things?
Prabhuji.
Okay. So, here in this screen, in this diagram, uh, we have shown what are the six system of philosophies are. But the diagram is not proper because it is made with AI and AI makes mistakes. But somehow or other, I try to do some uh, depiction here. So let us try to understand first of all what are the things here. So in this case, as we see, what is this Sardarshan is all about? So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15.15, by all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. So this is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Why he is saying that? Because whatever the Vedic literature we have, the
Hare
purpose
Krishna.
is to know God. The purpose is to know God. So in this case, we have seen through many uh, centuries that many people have this question always that what is the purpose of this world, or from where we came into existence, what is the goal of life, why we are born actually, what this world is all about, who created us, and so many things many people have asked for time immemorial, all these questions. And many people came up with their own philosophical ideas about the nature of this world and why we're what is the goal of our life. So that is what the philosophy is all about, understanding the purpose of life. So similarly, in the Vedic lore also, there were people or the sages who, with the help of the Vedas or with the help of their own thinking, thought process, they come up with certain philosophy or ideas about the nature and the purpose of this world and what we are doing in this world, why we are existing in this world. So they have come with many philosophies. So generally, such philosophies are divided into two aspects called Astika philosophy, and second is called Nastika philosophy. Astika philosophy means the philosophy which believes in God, and Nastika philosophy is the philosophy in which the people doesn't or the person doesn't believe in God. So, as such, there are Nastika philosophy which rejects Vedas, and such philosophies are examples are Buddhism, Jainism, and Charvaka philosophy. As most of us knows Buddhism philosophy, because Lord Buddha spoke about that Shunyavad. Shunyavad means at the end of the life there is nothing, everything becomes void. That means there is no God, there is no heavenly planets, there is nothing. The soul does cease to exist. That is called nirvana stage after death. So that is Buddhism. There is no God, it says. Second, Jainism is also like that. In the Jain philosophy, also the prominence is given on the ahimsa. That means when you cease your work, the reactions of the work, you will attain liberation, or you will cease to exist, and there is nothing called as God in hereafter life. So it also rejects Vedas, and it has come with its own philosophy about God and other things. And third is a Charvaka philosophy, which is also very famous in today's scenario because it is pure materialism. That means eat, drink, and be merry. Who knows what happens after death? Okay, so enjoy this life to
Right.
the fullest extent without bothering about what will happen in the next life because there is no next life. Whatever we have is this life only. So if we understand this world presently, the atheistic aspect is also the same, that we have only one life. There is no more life. There is no more rebirth. So whatever you have, you just enjoy in this world because this is the last chance. So that philosophy was initially given by Charvaka. He was also one of the uh, great thinker of his time, and he didn't believe or he rejected the Vedic understanding of this world. So in that sense, we have this three example of Buddhism, Jainism, and Charvak, and basically it is dealing with the mental speculation, and it has ends it comes to dead end because it cannot explain further aspect of the life.
Yeah.
So it has the beginning, but it cannot explain all the philosophical answers, and that's why such mental speculation has its limits. Because as soon as when we speak about the mental speculation, certainly the people imagine their own ideas, and there is limits to that imagination also. It cannot answer everything. So that's why Buddhist, Jainism, and Charvaka philosophy has its own limits, and it comes to certain dead end where it cannot further explains the certain aspects of the life. There is something called as astika philosophy, and such astika philosophy are described into six ways. These they are generally six views of seeing this world. There are six views of understanding the purpose of life of a person here, why this world exists. And this Astika philosophy basically involve understanding the Vedas. With the help of the Vedas, they try to understand and they accept the Vedas as a reference. So, what are these six philosophy? First is Nyaya, second is Vaisheshika, third is Sankhya, fourth is Yoga, fifth is Mimamsa, and sixth is Vedanta philosophy. Now, these six philosophies are given by six different personalities or the sages. All of them are trying to help us understand what the world is all about, what the life is all about, what is the purpose of life. So these six sages came up with, after reading the Vedic scriptures or after reading the this nature or this universe, they come up with their own understanding of what this world is all about. So let us start and understand what the six philosophies are, and you will find that most of us will fit into one of this philosophy. Every one of us have their own perspective of seeing this world, own perspective of understanding the purpose of life, and you will be happy to know that whatever you are thinking, it was already thought of by such sages in the past, and you may join some of the club actually, whichever club your thought process is going. So you can identify which club I belong to. So let us try to understand this philosophy. Okay, so here in this case, let us first understand, as I have discussed, I might have missed certain points, so let us discuss on that. So what is the purpose and context of this sixth system of philosophy? It is the timeless question is, who am I, what is this universe, what is the ultimate goal of life? All these questions are being asked by the people, and Vedic tradition provides a ladder of knowledge to answer this, and that's what we have seen. It is a kind of a ladder. The six system of philosophy are not separate philosophy. They are a kind of a ladder. Means step by step it takes you the highest understanding of life. But many times people understand that there are six systems. System is different aspect of philosophical point. But Srila Prabhupada, he explains that they are not six different philosophies, rather they are six steps of the philosophical understanding. Okay, so that we are going to discuss also. So Srila Prabhupada gave a very famous quotation. He said that philosophy without religion is just a speculation, and religion without philosophy is just a sentiment. So similarly, when when you don't believe in Vedas but have their own mental philosophical understanding, that is nothing but speculation, and that is what Nastika philosophy is all about. They doesn't believe on Vedas, but they have their own philosophical understanding, and that's why it is called as mental speculation. Whereas if we don't have any philosophy but just believe in our own emotion, just like people say, oh, uh, uh, the matter of the God is related with the heart. Whatever you believe, whatever the way you want to worship God, it is between you and the God. Why there is a need of certain mediation of understanding the scriptures and everything? All these scriptures, all these gurus are all bogus. And they, what the general people think, that there is a connection between me and the god, I don't need a third person in between. So such people are called sentimental people, because they believe in religion, they believe in god, but they don't have any philosophical backup. So such people are called sentimental people. So to understand bhakti yoga, one must understand the broader landscape of Indian philosophy. So many times people says that there are so many ways of understanding God, but why only bhakti yoga we have to practice? Many times people ask this question to the to us, like, why only bhakti yoga? Why not other aspect of religious aspect? Like, some people like to worship gods, they like to do some yagya, they like to do some donation and help people and poor. Some people like to just read the scripture and understand the philosophy. There are so many ways by which people want to have relationship with god. But then when we say that bhakti yoga is a topmost, people have doubts on that. So why these doubts is there? The reason is that they don't understand the whole spectrum of the philosophical understanding. And when we understand the whole spectrum of this philosophy, we understand that bhakti achieves the topmost position. Whereas all the other philosophy, though they are steps in understanding God, but still they have their own limitations. And that is what we'll discuss in this context. So, as I have discussed, Nastika philosophy. What is Nastika philosophy? They reject the Vedas as supreme authority and depend on perception and logic alone. Perception and logic means, show me God, only then I will believe him, or at least tell me logically, then I will believe him. Means generally people thinks about, we should be rational, we should think rationally, and we should perceive, we should be able to see God. Without seeing, how can I accept it? So in the name of being rational, and in the name of in the name of saying that show me god and then I will accept it, such kind of people are generally called nastika philosophic people. So examples of Buddhism, Jainism, Charvaka. Okay, we have to note that Buddhism is a nastika because Buddha rejected Vedas to stop animal sacrifice misuse. There was one person who asked Srila Prabhupada, he said that the Hindus accept Buddha to be incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Then why they don't worship Lord Buddha? The Prabhupada said that Buddha, even though he is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, but still he preached the philosophy of Nastikavad. And that's why the devotees doesn't accept or doesn't worship the philosophy given by Lord Buddha, because it deals with Nastikvad. They reject Vedas. So that's why, even though Lord Vishnu, he himself came as Lord Buddha and preached Nastikavad, that doesn't mean that we also start accepting what Buddha said. No, he did that because he wanted to stop misuse of animal sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas. We may go in detail if required regarding this understanding about Buddhism and Lord Buddha, why he did what he did. Maybe in the next seminar, which will come up with in future sessions. In the next seminar, we may discuss more in detail about Lord Buddha and his why he preach Nastikavad even though he is God himself, why he denied God even though he is God himself, why he has done that. So that we may discuss in our future seminars also. Okay, so Astikavad, now second aspect is Astikavad. It accept Vedas as infallible, means they do accept the Vedas as the ideal source of knowledge, but they don't necessarily accept that God has a personal form. So most of the Astikvad philosophy, they come up with the understanding that God is impersonal or doesn't have form, whereas some philosophy accept God has a form. But majoritarily they accept that God is impersonal, he doesn't have form. So these are six system, that is Sad Darshan. Six system of philosophy is called as Sad Darshanas. Now, what is the meaning of darshan? Darshan means to see, and Shad Darshan means six way of seeing the world. Okay, so in that way, the things are mentioned here. Now, let us understand what is Nyaya philosophy. Okay, before going into this Nyaya philosophical understanding, let me ask you, anybody have any question till now, so that we may discuss from here in detail. Anyone have anything to ask? Okay, that's good. So let us go ahead with Nyaya understanding. What is the Nyaya philosophy actually means? So Nyaya is a logic and epistemology of the existing situation. That means, to give small understanding, that generally whatever we do in this world, we try to understand the truth by logic or tarkavad. Tarka means logical understanding. Sometimes it is called as rational understanding. Just like, for example, somebody asked me the question, do you believe in hell and heaven? Somebody asked me. I said, yes, I do believe. Then he asked, why you believe in hell and heaven? uh, can you see the hell and heaven? Did you see those things? I said, no, I didn't see hell and heaven. Then how you believe the hell or heaven exist? So such question cannot be answered in a what to say, shastric way, because a person doesn't believe in shastras. So how to deal with such situation? Then we have to come with certain logical understanding. Similarly, when people ask, I don't believe in God, then certainly a student of the Nyaya philosophy, what he will say, okay, why you don't believe in God? So then he's try to give example or explanation based on rational understanding or logical understanding, that how this whole creation is created. Okay, it cannot come into existence just like that. There must be some creator, because whatever has been created, there must be some creator. So all these things is called as logic. But there is one problem with the logic. With logic, you can come up to certain understanding, but you cannot definitely prove the truth. And that's why Mahabharata says, Nahi tarkena pratisthayet. That means by tarka or by nyaya philosophy or by logic, you cannot establish the truth. You may say it may exist or it may not exist, but you cannot say it, or you cannot firmly say it is possible. So here the example is given of a smoke and fire. Now let us give some understanding what this example of smoke and fire is. Let's say you are moving near the hill, or maybe it is a hill place, hilly station, and you see on top of the hill there is a smoke. So now, by seeing the smoke on the top of the hill, not clouds, but smoke, you see the smoke rising in the air at a distance on the hill. By seeing the smoke, what generally will come in our mind? There is two possibility. One is smoke is there, that means there is fire. And if there is fire, that means there is some people around there, that those who are burning certain things. So by seeing the smoke, one can conclude or come to the understanding that without fire there cannot be smoke. And because there is smoke, there must be some fire there. So that is called as logical way of understanding the truth. But the problem is that even when the fire goes out, still there is a smoke. So just by seeing the smoke, one cannot say that fire must be there. One can say 50-50. That is, maybe fire is there or may not be fire. So that is how the logic is. Nyaya philosophy gives us certain hint about the truth, but it cannot establish conclusively that what the truth is. So that's why Nyaya philosophy, it helps in understanding God. Nyaya philosophy accept that God may exist, but it cannot say means God exists. It say God may exist, because if you learn or understand this whole creation, if you read and analyze this creation, you will force to know that there must be something more than this, than just what we are seeing. Even present, our AI, there are so many AI systems are there. So even if you ask a chat GPT, ask, do you believe in God? Even chat GPT will say, yes, we, by seeing the situation, by seeing the uh, plus and minus situation of this world and philosophy, we forced to accept that there may be some chances that God may exist, and it may give you a certain reply. But again, maybe it cannot conclusively say that God exists, but it may say that they may be, because to accept certain conclusively, we must be able to see that also. But certainly, we can infer that this may be the situation. So that's how Nyaya philosophy helps us to understand this world. So the propounder of the Nyaya philosophy was Gautama Rishi. Its core concept is the science of reasoning and logic. It focuses on how we acquire valid knowledge through inference and evidences. The goal of this knowledge is to remove suffering by attaining clear logical understanding of the material world. Example, using the logic of smoke and fire to prove the existence of an unseen cause as the creator of the world. So all this thing I have discussed with you. I hope you understand what this Nyaya philosophy is all about. Any questions on this, on Nyaya philosophy? Okay, well and good. No questions. Nice. Then there is another philosophy called Vaisheshika philosophy. This philosophy is worldwide accepted by the scientists also, but it was originally propounded by
Okay.
Kannada Rishi. So Kannada Rishi, he was a person who who promoted the philosophy that this world is made up of atoms and
Hare
molecules.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, anybody have anything to say? Okay, fine. So generally, this philosophy called said by Kannada, he accepted that this world is made up of atoms and molecules, because what he saw that whatever we see is basically made up of minute particles. If we try to dissect each and everything, we'll come to a certain place where we cannot dissect the thing more than that atomic particle. So the lowest or the least dissection that can happen to any thing is up to the level of atoms. He said that atoms cannot be further divided. So just like we see the laptop here, or we see the mobile in front of you. So when we see the mobile or laptop, what is that actually? Factually speaking, it is the combination or collection of atoms and molecules of certain material. It is just a conglomeration of all these atoms and molecule, nothing more than that. So everything we see in this world can be seen in terms of atoms and molecules. Even we see a flower. What this flower is composed of? It is composed of atomic cells, right? It is composed of atomic molecules. It is composed of all this thing. So eventually, this Vaisheshika philosophy helps us to understand that this world is illusion. It doesn't really exist. Whatever we see is just an illusion. How come it is like that? Even Krishna spoke the same philosophy to Arjuna by saying that why you are crying for the living or dead? Every one of us even if we accept that we are made up of certain chemicals, the chemicals will have its presence, and after some time the chemicals will die or it cease to exist. So Krishna spoke that philosophy to Arjuna in second chapter also. So why you cry for certain chemical bag? Even Srila Prabhupada, in his book called Science of Self-Discovery, he says that if you try to analyze this body, you will come to know that this body is made up of water, it is made up of air, it is made up of certain earth material, it is made up of certain potassium, calcium, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and so many other materials. And then if you try to combine and understand the estimate all those molecule or understand all these elements, you will realize that it does not cost more than $100. So what is the value of your body? He said that not more than $100. So does it mean that your cost or your value is $100 only? No. But if you try to analyze this world through this way of philosophy, it doesn't help us to understand or establish the absolute truth. But Kannada Rishi, what he establishes that he understood that everything boils down to atoms and molecules, but he is not able to find how these atoms and molecules can have consciousness. So even though he have established the philosophy of materialistic atomic understanding, but still there was a question that was remaining in Kannada philosophy, in Kannada Rishi's philosophy, was that how these material elements give rise to consciousness. So even Kannada, even though he's the greatest materialistic scientist, have to accept that this world is not just about the material elements. There must be something which is not material, something out of this world must be there that is giving this material things an animate understanding. Animate means it makes it think, it allows him to think, it allows him to will, it allows him to feel. There is conscience, there's consciousness, and this is not a subject of material elements. So that's how, even though Kannada was speaking in terms of like a scientist, present material scientist, he still accepted that without consciousness it is not possible, and that consciousness cannot be material thing. So that is how even the Vaisheshika philosophy given by Kannada Rishi does accept that there is some superior being that is making all this situation run with consciousness. And that's how Vaisheshika philosophy also falls under Astika category. So what this Vaisheshika philosophy is, that the Kannada Rishi has propounded it. The core concept is analysis of material elements. It proposes that the universe is made up of eternal atoms, parmanu. The goal is to distinguish between the soul and matter by understanding the atomic building blocks of nature. Example given as breaking down a pot to see it is just earth atoms. Similarly, analyzing the body to see it is different from the soul. So just like it gives the example that we see a pot. Now what the pot is actually all about? It is just a combination of earth element given a different shape. And with this shape, we understand that the pot is there. Yes. Claude, switch off your mic. Okay. So, in this context, we understand that all the things which we see around, it is nothing but just a combination of atoms and molecules, a matter. So that is how Kannada tried to this uh, understand this world, and even today scientists are doing the same thing. But the original propounder of modern atomic science is the Kannada Rishi only. So that is how the things are. Now let us discuss on Sankhya philosophy. This is another philosophical understanding to understand God or to understand what this world is all about. But it basically deals with analytical knowledge of material nature. It is just an extension of Kannada philosophy, extension of Vaisheshika philosophy called Sankhya philosophy. Vaisheshika philosophy speaks that the world is made up of atoms and molecules. But Sankhya philosophy goes little ahead by saying that it is not just atoms and molecules. There is something called as senses, sense organ, and this earthly elements, and there is something called mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are also added to the Vaisheshika philosophy. So, in one sense, Sankhya philosophy is an extension of Vaisheshika philosophy only. It gives more elaborate details on how to understand material nature in terms of its element. So, So Sankhya philosophy ideally says that there are 24 material elements. That is how it propounds its philosophy. But again, there is there is a difference of presently what we understand as Sankhya philosophy. The the most no, the most popular and the worldwide accepted philosophy of Sankhya system is different from the original Sankhya system. The original Sankhya system was given by Lord Kapila, who was the son of Mother Devahuti, and he was the incarnation of the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna himself. So he was the original Kapil Muni, but there was one more Kapil Muni who appeared in the past, but he was a kind of a atheistic person, or accepting that there is no variegatedness, that there is God, but it doesn't have variety in that. So that's why Prabhupada called that Kapila the as atheistic Kapila. He believed in impersonal understanding of God and transcendence. So that's why there is a two Kapila. One is Kapila, who is incarnation of Krishna, and there is another Kapila called atheistic Kapila, who propounded an impersonal understanding of reality. So what we accept, we as means a devotee, we accept Sankhya philosophy in terms of what original Kapil Muni has said in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Sankhya philosophy by Kapila, we accept that philosophy as Sankhya philosophy. Whereas presently, the most popular in the world now is not about the God, it is more about the this atheistic Kapila, who says the Sankhya philosophy in an impersonal way. So that's why there are sometimes people gets into confusion by reading this Sankhya philosophy given by atheistic Kapila and says that it doesn't matches with your Srimad Bhagavatam Sankhya philosophy. Why it is like that? Because there were two Kapilas and people misunderstand the atheistic Kapila with the original Kapila. So now let us try to understand what they are. So Kapila Rishi, the son of Devahuti, spread pure devotion to God. He is regarded as the original proponent of the Sankhya discipline. In the teachings he imparted to his mother Devahuti, he established a direct link between Sankhya Yoga and pure devotion to the Supreme Being. Okay. Whereas the atheistic Kapil Muni, he was an impersonalist, Nirvisheshwadi. This section clarifies the distinction between two divergent schools of thought. One school affirms the existence of God, while the other focus solely on the analysis of fundamental principle of elements. So here, in this case, as we have discussed, there are two divergent understanding of Sankhya. One is given by God himself, God Kapila, and other was given by atheistic Kapila. So what this philosophy is all about? The primary objective of Sankhya philosophy is to distinguish and differentiate between Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha means the soul or the consciousness, and Prakriti, that is material nature or matter. It is a profound science dedicated to understanding the fundamental constituents of which this universe is composed. Now, here in this case, as it has been seen, that the whole purpose of this philosophy is to understand and realize how this material nature works. So material nature, how it is working actually. So that is what this discussion is all about. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, prakriti kriyamanani gunakarmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Krishna says in this shloka that due to ego or due to ahankar only, a jiva thinks that he is a doer, but factually speaking, he is not the doer. He is just an observer, whereas everything is carried out under the direction of the three modes of material nature. So, what this Sankhya philosophy is now, this quotation from Bhagavad Gita describes the Sankhya philosophy. What the Sankhya philosophy here is that everything you see is acting under the three modes of nature: Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamoguna. So Sankhya philosophy goes into detail in understanding how the people behave, why they behave in certain way. Sometimes we see that some people feel very lethargic, some people are very enthusiastic, some people are very peaceful. So Sankhya philosophy teaches why they are behaving in this way. What is the reason? So Sankhya philosophy gives us understanding that there are people are affected by these three different modes. So the people in the mode of Sattva Guna are basically peaceful people, whereas the people in the mode of Rajoguna are very ambitious and enthusiastic about the surrounding. And the third Tamoguna people, these Tamasic people are mostly uh, disturbance and lazy kind of people of the society. So because of the people into this, they are involved into these three different modes. There are different nature of the people we see, how they act or how they behave. So even though, just like for example, even though there is only one teacher who is teaching the same knowledge, but still the students, depending on the different modes of in which the students are, there are the students will take that knowledge into different capacity. And that's why we see, even though teacher teaching the same thing to the class of students, still there are only few who are toppers, there are few who are struggling to get some marks, and there are few who are completely failure in their presentation. Why it is like that? Even though they are getting the same knowledge, it is not that the teacher is partial to those who are toppers. She is giving this, the teacher is giving the same knowledge to all the students, but still the student perceive the same knowledge depending upon their modes of nature they are in. So that is how the Sankhya philosophy try to understand this world, that how this world is working. Krishna also, sorry, Arjuna also asked in Bhagavad Gita, sometimes I am forced to do something which I don't like to work, as if somebody is pushing me to perform certain acts. Even though I understand it is wrong, even though I understand it is not good for me, but still there is something which is driving me to go ahead with the act, and then later I repent and feel bad about those actions. I feel guilty about those actions. Even though I know it is wrong, but still I commit those actions, and then later I feel guilt about it. Why this is happening? Again, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita about the same thing. It is because we are driven by these modes only. Modes under the, because there are certain desires, and that desires are driven by these modes. So that's how this material nature works, and this is what Sankhya system of philosophy teaches. Why the people behave in a way, that sometimes they are happy or sometimes they are sad. So this Sankhya philosophy is a very interesting philosophy. If we understand this philosophy, most of the things of this world, we will be completely detached from all the material miseries also. Whatever attachment we have about this world, or whatever problems that we are facing in this world, it will vanishes off if we understand this Sankhya philosophy. So if somebody wants to go more into understanding of the Sankhya philosophy, please try to read Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, discussion between Kapila and Mother Devahuti, if you want to go in detail about it. Okay, so I will not go in detail. Let us discuss about the fourth system of philosophy called Mimamsa philosophy. So what is this Mimamsa philosophy? This philosophy is nothing but karma kanda, attaining spirituality through actions and karma. So what actually it means? Sometimes people say that, oh, everything is based on your karma. You must have heard this thing many times. Karmanye vadhikaraste, that shloka, ma phaleshu kadachana. Very famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, people quotes that karma is the topmost. One should do their duties. What is this God? Why you're depending on God? Everything is everything depends on your valor, your power. There is nothing as such as God also. So most of the people, whether they are atheistic or theist, whatever, astic or nastika, all of them accept that the karma is the topmost. That is, without doing any work, one cannot achieve anything. So generally, this Mimamsakas, uh, famously known as Karma Mimamsa philosophy, it says that God is there, even though there is a God, or even if God exists. First of all, they say that it doesn't matter whether God is there or not. Why? Because they believe that it is only karma that will help you. If you sit on a bed, nobody is going to come and feed you. You have to work in order to live. It is not that God will come to you and he will feed you. So that is called, so such philosophy is generally utilized by many philosophers, because there are some people who says that, oh, everything is depends on God. If God desire, then something will happen. So such kind of lazy rascals of the society, to teach them a lesson, there is philosophy by Jaimini Rishi come up with the philosophy of karma mimamsa, saying that it is not God who will help you, it is your karma that is going to help you. If you don't work, if you don't go for your job, who will feed you, who will feed your family? So stop relying on God, and start relying on your karma. And the Jaimini Rishi also says one more important thing, that even if there is God, if let's say even we accept that God exists, still ultimately it is your karma that God will reward you. Even God cannot go against uh, the 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 karma balance. If you don't have any pious activity, if you don't have any pious credits uh, in your credit account, or into your karma account, then even though God is there, what God will give you? And this philosophy is correct in some to some extent. We also teach in the karma philosophy, when we speak about the karma siddhanta, we also understand that there are two different accounts, karma account called as pious credit and sinful credits. If you do good activity, the credits in pious account will increase. If you do wrong activity, which is against scripture, your sinful credits will increase. And and even the even the God whom we worship, okay, to be, whether it is our kula devata or it is whoever we worship, they also can provide only those things to the extent we have those credits. They cannot, bypass what credits we have. They cannot do that. And that's why we see in the scriptures there are many stories regarding such situation, where the demigods refused to give certain vardhan or certain benediction to his worshipper, just on the account that they doesn't have that much kind of credit. Okay, one famous example we know is about Amba. There was a story of Mahabharata that Amba uh, wanted to kill Bhishma Dev, but because Amba didn't have the credit, even Lord Shiva denied her request, and she had to approach to uh, Parshuram in that sense. So that is how we understand this credit situation. If you don't have the credit, one cannot get the benediction accordingly. So gods are also help us depending on the how much credit we have. Even the Karma Mimamsa philosophy mostly deals in going to the heaven. And and if you want to go to heaven, then you must have pious credit in your karma account. If you don't have those pious credit in your karma account, even God cannot help you enter into uh, heavenly planet. There is one story of Trishanku. Trishanku was like that. If you want to go in detail, please read Ramayana part. How Vishwamitra and Vashishta Rishi were fighting to make Trishanku go to the heavenly planets, but because he doesn't have that sufficient credit, pious credit in his account, he was hanging upside down in the air. So that story is also there. One can read that story. So I will not go into detail of all these stories. It is just for you make just for you to make you understand that this karma philosophy is is true to some certain extent. Why? Because it do accept that God exists, but when he speaks about God's existence, it gives as secondary importance. The primary importance is given to your own karma, whereas God is there, but He's obliged to give the fruits of our action. The gods are nothing but the giver of our karma only, the fruits of our karma only. So here I will just read what is written on this. So the founder of this karma mimamsa philosophy is Jaimini Rishi. It has certain alternative name. This system is also known as karma mimamsa or purva mimamsa. The philosophy says that a central tenet states that even if God exists, he is obliged to give the fruits of our action, karma. This means the law of karma is supreme and automatic. It says that the universe is eternal and governed by the laws of dharma and karma. The gods mentioned in the Vedas are often seen by Mimamkas as mere names or powers within the mantras themselves rather than independent entities with free will. So the Mimamsaka philosophy, they accept the following of dharma and karma siddhanta, they believe in that. Whereas for them, the God is nothing more than just the provider of our own fruits of this karmic reaction. Even Lord Krishna, in the story of Govardhan Hill, lifting of Govardhan Hill, he also used the same karma mimamsa philosophy in front of uh, Nanda Maharaj. In order to stop the Indra Puja, even Krishna utilizes karma mimamsa philosophy. So if you want to go in more into detail of this karma mimamsa philosophy, go into Srimad Bhagavatam, read Govardhan Puja and discussion between Lord Krishna and Nanda Baba. So you will understand how Krishna used karma mimamsa philosophy to stop Indra Puja there. So the conclusion is that the ultimate conclusion of the school is that the primary purpose of the Vedas is karma kanda, and that's how we also presently 95% of all the spiritualists we see in this world, 95%, whether they may be from Hinduism, Christianity, or any other religion, whoever they comes, 95% of the of the theist class of the people, those who believe in God, they are mostly into this karma kanda section only. Why? Again, they want God not for worship. They worship God not for spiritual advancement. They worship God for their own material benefits. How, what they will achieve hereafter, what they will achieve in the future life. That is what the philosophy. So this karma mimamsa philosophy is worldwide, and it is been it is prevalent in many different way names actually. So that is how mimamsa philosophy is working. Okay. Next is yoga philosophy, called generally given by Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Many people, especially in Western world, they are very much fond of this yoga, especially Patanjali yoga system. People like to perform yoga. But again, this yoga philosophy, as we know today, is nothing more than a gymnastic, as Srila Prabhupada also says the same thing. Nothing more than bodily exercise. The real yoga, which is given by Patanjali, the founder of the philosophy of yoga sadhana, is Maharshi Patanjali. So Patanjali Yoga Sutras are generally have 194 sutras and are classified into four chapters called sections. The objective is to achieve God realization, that is Bhagavad Sakshatkar, through the systematic practice of the Ashtanga Yoga method. So there is a need. So the purpose of yoga is to achieve God realization. It is not to achieve bodily fitness, which is generally people in present generally do. The purpose of yoga is to understand God, to realize God, and that too happens through eight limbs of yoga process. And what are those eight limbs of yoga process? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. So what is yama and niyam? Again, yama and niyama involves lot of rules and regulation. It involves being ahimsa, following brahmacharya, following truth, speaking of truth, and so many other rules and regulation. So generally, how many people follow all this thing? As we see presently, the yoga which people follow nowadays, or sorry, the those who are health conscious also, they directly jump onto third and the fourth uh, limbs, asana and pranayam. They follow different asana, that means physical posture. Somebody called this as a Surya Nama, that Bhujangasan, Shavasana, and so many other Padmasan. So many asanas are there, and people like to sit in this asana and meditate on God, as they say, or meditate on the mind, or meditate on certain void thing, or meditate on certain music. So these are the different ways people try to meditate by sitting on certain asana. And then there is something called as pranayam. Pranayam is breathing exercise, like inhale and exhale process. So people are very much interested nowadays on this third and the fourth limb of yoga process. And they mostly believe that we are doing yoga. But no, the third and fourth limbs comes after first and second limb. The first and second limbs, rules and regulations, which they need to follow. But nobody follow rules and regulation. And because there is people don't follow rules and regulation, even they have difficulty with asana and pranayam. But again, all this thing has nothing to do, all this asana and pranayam, they have nothing to do with the spiritual understanding. Why people want this thing? Just for their physical fitness, that's all. But the real purpose of yoga is to understand God. Why? Because it emphasizes the concept of nirakar existence of God. Here, in this case, after going through pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi, generally called as spiritual absorption, in that situation, one completely focuses on the formless aspect of the God. He sees within his heart either a formless thing, a formless light, or if he is more advanced, then he will be able to see the four-handed form of Lord Narayan within his heart. So that's how this Patanjali Yoga Sutra helps us to realize God within our heart. Okay, so this is basically an internal practice rather than searching God in the outside world like Nyaya philosophy, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, which focuses on material elements and material objects. But this Yoga Sutra mainly deals with internal research. Yoga Sutra says, Patanjali Rishi says that no need to search God outside. God is within you. Search God within. Okay, so it is mostly into internal practice. So that is how this Yoga Sutra teaches about God. But again, there are certain limitations. But still, these are better compared to other philosophy because at least here there is some concept of God, whether it is formless or with a form. There is some understanding of God is there. Whereas in other all the previous section we have seen that the people not even believe in God somewhere, just like in Nyaya and Vaisheshika philosophy, they say it may exist or it may not exist. Whereas in Sankhya system, again, they say that it may exist. Why? Because ultimately, going after a lot of material element research, they understand that consciousness is out of this material limit. So then they accept that there must be something beyond the matter also. So Sankhya system help you to come to that level of understanding that there is something outside this material world. And the Patanjali says, what is that outside of this material world? And that is the supreme one, that is spiritual world. It describes about the spiritual understanding. So that's why among all the six system of philosophy, Yoga Sutra is very much closer to the truth, but still it is not complete. It has certain limitations again. And that limitations is completed by the sixth philosophy called as Vedanta Sutra philosophy. And it was given by Maharshi Vedvyas himself, who is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the God himself want that the people should come to the right understanding rather than moving and searching here and there, beating around the bushes, that how God will be, what God will be. what is spirituality. Rather than speculating, the God himself comes and describe about his own philosophy or the purpose of life. So that is this Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra directly, completely focus or directly accept Vedas as the ideal source of knowledge, and through the understanding of the Upanishads, it gives the Upanishadic understanding of how what is the purpose of life. And the purpose of life is to understand the supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Himself. Understanding that we are jivas suffering in this material world, and we have to go back home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual world, original place, and generally it is known by the term moksha. The term moksha is famously used. Why the moksha is what used? Moksha means relieving us from the bondage. So Vedanta Sutra helps a person to get out of this bondage. Whereas in previous all the other philosophical understanding, there may be some concept of God, but the concept of God, why to achieve God and why to achieve this moksha is established by the Vedanta Sutra. So, in that sense, we see that this ladder, Srila Prabhupada says, the teachings of Vedas are designed in such a way that the conditioned souls can be liberated from material bondage and take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. If we study Shadadarshan as a separate branch of philosophy, separate from the Lord, it will lead to atheism. Whereas Shad Darshan is actually 6 steps of single ladder that help us to reach the Lord in sequence. The purpose of the ladder cannot be merely to know the steps, but the purpose of the ladder is to reach the ultimate height, Krishna. So here I am going to conclude of our teaching by showing this small diagram. So the topmost ladder is Vedanta Sutra, which gives the highest understanding of God and the real nature of this material world in connection with the jivas. Okay. Whereas the lowest rung of this ladder is Karma Mimamsa philosophy. It mostly into Karma Kanda aspect, and it believes that it believes in God, but more importantly, it gives more attention to karma section. But there is something called as Jnana Kanda, which involves Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, and Yoga, which utilizes knowledge to understand is there anything beyond this material world. So that Jnana Kand is there. Whereas Vedanta Sutra is a section of Upasana Kand called Bhakti, and that describes the worshipping the Supreme Lord. So in that way, the interrelationship between the Shad Darshan is provided here. So that is how the Shad Darshan has been described in our Vedas. Hare Krishna. Any questions? I am over now. Here we end our class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
I
Yes.
I am thinking um, the Bhakti Yoga or Vedanta Sutra, does that combine karma um, philosophy too? Because we do talk all the time about our karmas, like 3 modes of, you know, action or what consciousness we keep and how we act according to that. And then how it would be resulting in our next birth or future. So everything is depending on karma. Then we say nishkam karma and everything. So I'm just wondering, where does this karma or Mimamsa philosophy fit in with Vedanta Sutra?
Thank you, Mataji, for this question. As just like when we go on a lift, so generally we don't have to climb the steps. Okay, when we go in a lift or elevator, we just click the button and immediately we go to the top floor. Otherwise, if there is no elevator, we have to go step by step, right? So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have received the access of that elevator where we don't have to go step by step from all this philosophy. But even if we reach to the highest floor, it still includes karma section also. It still includes jnana section also. Just like if you have $100 note, it does include $50 note, it does include $20 notes. Similarly, when we perform bhakti, in the bhakti also involves karma, bhakti also involves jnana, bhakti also involves ashtanga aspect also, where there is something called meditation called ashtanga, also involves that yoga sutra which involves dhyana, meditation. So in bhakti all the three naturally exist. It is included in the bhakti. So there is no separately we have to do all this for three other aspects. Like karma, we need not have to go separately. We need not have to go separately for understanding jnana. We need not have to go separately to understand dhyana process. Bhakti involves all these things in it itself. Otherwise, if we go to different place, it understand it as a as such university where you have primary school also, secondary school also, and high school also. So bhakti involves everything. So when we practice bhakti, so press the initially whenever a bhakta comes, a newly joins to the bhakti process, he initially goes to karma yoga philosophy. That is nishkam karma. He performs karma to serve the supreme lord. So when he grows up slowly, he when he advances, we naturally see that person that now more than karma, he now accept scriptural understanding. Now he goes more focus on reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, understanding what Prabhupada teachings are. So he's mostly involved into jnana aspect. That is how we see advancing. And when he understands the scriptures, then he realizes, oh, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the topmost. Now let me focus more on meditating the Supreme Lord through Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So here comes the dhyana process or yoga sutra that comes here. So bhakti naturally involves all the three things. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? Anybody have any questions? Okay. I think we have completed the situation. This completes course, Vedas. Uh, there is nothing else to be discussed because these are the complete overview of the Vedas. Even though I spoke just an overview, if and each and every each and every title is complete ocean in itself. Each and every title is a complete ocean in itself. So if you want to dive deeper into certain aspect of the ocean, of that ocean, you can certainly go to it and can understand the things in deeply. But this is how we understand which ocean is where. At least we should know what is where. Otherwise, we will feel all the oceans are same. No, not all the oceans are not same. There are different ocean have different place. Some has prominent place and some has uh, uh, secondary place also. So similarly, reading all these Vedic scriptures, we came to understand that if you want to understand God, if you want to understand the purpose of life, it is the Vedanta Sutra or Bhakti Yoga that gives us the topmost understanding of this philosophy. There are other philosophies, no doubt, but all the other philosophies are nothing but mere steps to understand Vedanta or Sutra is in Bhakti Yoga form. So, so when you hear many such words, you will come across many different institutions, many different spiritual organizations. They may be speaking about something. Please understand that they are not wrong, but they are speaking about only certain facet of Vedic lore. Okay, when you go to certain Patanjali yoga school, so don't think that that is only spirituality. No, it is just a part of the whole system. That is just a part. It is not that if you complete Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that means now you are completely spiritual now. No, it will not happen in that way. Similarly, when somebody is doing yajna or karma kanda, worshipping different gods in the temple, doing yajna, knows lot of mantra and shloka and mudra and everything, one may not think that I am now become a spiritual person now. No, that is also one of the part. You are just a part of the whole system. And which part helps you in which aspect, that also we have to understand. So the highest understanding, the purpose, as Krishna says in Gita, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo, Vedanta krit ved videva chaham. The purpose of the Vedas is to understand God, that is Krishna. Okay. So if you learning all these Vedic scriptures, if you are learning all this science, but if you are not coming to the conclusion that Krishna is the supreme Lord, then that is all a waste of time. That's all. That we have to understand. It is just like we have spent 4 year, 5 years in university college, but at the end we realize that we got failed in the exam. So what is the use of all those 5 years of expenditure? It is just a waste, because ultimately the purpose is to get that certificate of degree, degree certificate. That is very important. So you attend everything, you attend all the lab, you attend all the library, or you attend all the classes, but you can't pass the exam. Then what is the point then? Similarly, even after going through all these things, understanding different aspect of the spiritual life, the ultimate aim, if Krishna is not attained, if Krishna is not achieved, then what is the use of all this study and other things? So that is how I'm concluding today's session. Thank you very much. If you have any questions or you want to have any more detailed discussion on this, I'm always available on my contact. You can contact me, and you can ask the question. Now, regarding our next seminar, just like to inform you that we'll be starting our next seminar on Avatar. Avatar means the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So in the scriptures, there are various incarnation of Godhead, various incarnation. Krishna has come into many avatars. Most famously, we know Dasha Avatar, 10 avatars. But let me tell you, they are not only 10 avatars. There are millions and millions of avatars of the Lord. Okay, millions of avatars, unlimited incarnation of the Lord is there. So generally it is divided into 6 categories: Purusha avatar, Leela avatar, Yuga avatar, Guna avatar, Manvantar avatar. So there are 6 categories of avatars are there, and we will try to understand what these categories are. I will just like to advertise about this avatar by saying that we hear that God incarnates in this world. So do you know that Lord Varahadev, Varaha means Lord incarnation as a boar form. He incarnated 3 times. So 3 times boar incarnation happened. Do you know the Matsya avatar, the fish incarnation of the Lord? That fish incarnation happened 2 times till now. So this is just an advertisement to make you understand that in the scriptures there are many things that are hidden. So if you want to go in detail understanding of this script of this incarnation, then please attend this Avatara section, which I am going to start from 1st of April. That is next to next Wednesday. We will have 1 week gap, and then we can start again on 1st of April. That is Wednesday only. The same time, 7 to 8 p.m. I request all of you to please spread the word, and please make the people realize that how important it is. I'm not going more into philosophical aspect. I'm just going into informative aspect so that we can understand how our scriptures are filled with this variety of knowledge about incarnation itself. I am going to speak about there are multitudes of Vaikuntha. There is not only one Vaikuntha. There are thousands and crores and unlimited Vaikunthas are there. We are going to discuss on the Vaikuntha also. We are going to discuss about the spiritual planet also, where God Himself stays. In which form, what form God stays, and there are different names of God. Why there are different names of God? So generally we hear that the names of God depend on their activities, but also the names of God also depend on the varieties of form of the God. So all these things are there, and that we are going to discuss in our next seminar on avatar. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, link will be the same or it will be different?
No, this the same link will
The
be
same
there,
link.
and
Okay.
it will be shared in the
Mm.
group. I
Okay.
request all of you to please participate. It is very, very important. And if you go through all this seminar, certainly your way of seeing the Vedic scriptures or seeing the spiritual life will be changed completely. That is for sure. Okay.
I have
Thank
a
you.
quick question, Prabhu. How
Yes.
many sessions will that seminar be?
I believe we should complete in 5 sessions. But it depends on how quick, because in the last session we have got a feedback form, and many people complained that Prabhu, you are going too fast. uh, so many things are not understood properly, and it will be better if you can, if you like, you can take more sessions, but please explain us in detail in the sense at least our our queries can be answered. So I completely agree with them. Today also I wanted to discuss more on this, but since I had a limited time, since I promised that I will complete today, so even this Shadadarshan, I wanted to discuss more, but since the time was less, I immediately completed it. So I wish to complete avatar session in 5 avatar seminar in 5 sessions, but if it required, uh, it will be more into interactive. This second seminar will be more interactive, where I will, my pace will depend on your questions. That is how I wish to plan. Is that okay, if you don't mind?
Absolutely.
Yes,
That sounds
Prabhuji.
great, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you very much then. So
Hare Krishna.
I'll be eager to see you all again. Please do join the session from 1st of April. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.